What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, July 23rd, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the future class of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
What's up, Greg? I feel like it's been a while since we've done one-on-one hosting.
It's been a while since I feel like we've been on a show in general together. You know what I mean? You've left me with Janet for the two PS I Love Yous in a row. You say you're getting your teeth worked on, but then you come back with these dynamite haircuts. I don't know what's happening.
It's what happens when you get bit in both eyes by a snake. You know, you miss Mondays. Only Mondays for some reason. You miss out on them, but you come back with better vision and a better haircut. And so
I tell you not to go handle these snakes on Saturdays and Sundays, but you refuse to listen to me, and you go and do it, and then that's what happened on Monday.
Yeah, they're asking for it.
They are. Somebody's got to tame these snakes, and it's got to be Blessing Adeoye Jr. It's got to be Blessing Adeoye Jr. Blessing, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. It's been nice. So yeah, like you mentioned, I was doing teeth stuff, which is always a fun thing.
Doing teeth stuff. The Blessing Adeoye Jr. story.
I've had maybe the worst run of luck when it comes to dentists and oral surgeons. Sure. Where now I've had multiple different dentists / oral surgeons telling me that my teeth are just unnaturally strong.
When that's not what you want to hear, right?
Which is not what you want to hear. Yeah. Like it sounds like a compliment, but it's not a great thing to hear when you're getting your wisdom tooth extracted and the oral surgeon looks at you and they're like, "What the fuck is up with your teeth? Why are they so strong?" And I'm like, "I don't fucking know. I drank a lot of milk when I was in high school. I don't know if that was it, but I mean, it is what it is." And so,
like, you tell me why they're so strong. All right, you figure it out here. That's what I'm paying you to do.
Yeah, I'm paying you to help me out. And so that was a fun thing. And then this last weekend, went back to Seattle to hang out with family, which is also a really fun thing because it's been my first time out of town since actually moving to SF. Because if you remember, there was this whole thing that went down where there was a virus that ravaged the land. And so I wasn't able to travel for, I guess, a year and a half at this point. And so I
thought that only lasted like 2 weeks, though. Didn't we only have to get locked up for 2 weeks? Oh, no.
Yeah, the CDC kept trying to tell us that.
They lowballed that one.
It didn't have to go away. Fun fact, it's still not gone away. It's still here. So protect yourself, everybody. Yeah,
okay. Exactly. You get vaccinated, everybody. Don't be buying into these theories that say you shouldn't get vaccinated. Go get vaccinated. Save yourself. Save others. Get out there and get vaccinated. All right.
How have you been, Greg?
Good. Vaccinated. No, everything's been well over here. You know what I mean. It's been a fun week, I guess. You know what I mean? We had Poe in from Chicago visiting last week into the weekend. He got to hang out. We played a bunch of video games. And then Wednesday, I took, quote unquote, the day off. But what it was the maternity shoot. So we had a photographer come up from LA, one of our friends, Pam, and she shot Jen and I. And so the morning was like this jam-packed, get everything ready for my wife. I'm steaming clothes for her. I'm vacuuming the house. I'm cleaning stuff up or whatever, making meals. And then we went off and shot photos out and then took her to the air. Didn't get home to like 10:50 at night. I was exhausted and I have not recovered. Awesome. I overslept by an hour today, which was great, but then also was like, oh shit, games daily. I got to pull this thing together.
Oh damn. How's PS Love you been?
You know what? Honestly, better than it was with you.
Damn it.
Damn
it. That was all scary. That was my biggest fear. I knew I shouldn't have left for 2 weeks. 1 week, it's like, okay, cool. It's a fluke. 2 weeks in a row of having great episodes. It's like, damn, now I'm the problem.
No. First off, you and I have found our groove. I think, you and I have on PS I Love You XOXO have done some amazing stuff lately. But yeah, I was so excited to get Janet in because I'm always excited to, learn a new person, right? Learn a new co-host, see what they like and what they're like. And so, Janet and I have had 2 banger episodes of PS I Love You XOXO with differing opinions and everything else. And now, as you know, we have to gear up for this is Uncharted overrated conversation that is hurtling at us. And I think I'm the only person on the other side saying it's not overrated, but I'm not sure.
I can't wait. But you're also the person that gave it the IGN reviews. And so like you're the one who's overrating it. You're the one who's overrating it, Greg. I can't wait.
That's neither here nor there. All right. Well, you can save it for that show because we're not talking about that today. Instead, today we're talking about the fallout from yesterday's Activision lawsuit reports. We're talking about GTA Online killing it. And then we're talking about some Borderlands 3 developers leaving Gearbox. We're talking about all that and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show at patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can write in to be part of the show. You can get your name read on the show. You can get the show ad-free. You can get the show with the exclusive post show we do each and every weekday. Of course, on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can get all those benefits for the Kinda Funny Games Cast, the Kinda Funny X Cast. The list goes on. Of course, you get exclusive programming like the Kinda Funny Next Gen podcast or our AMA episodes. It's all for you. And you can even get all the Kinda Funny Patreon stuff for the Kinda Funny Prime channel. But I digress. Just go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames if you can. But if you can't, we totally understand. You can watch us record the show live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. If you're watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, just like Muko Shona, Unsung Spartan, and NSA Surveillance Truck 17 are, you have a special job. Go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe each and every weekday. Housekeeping for you. Today's the day, ladies and gentlemen. Tim and I finally are doing Tim and I are being adults, finishing what we started. We've got the beers on ice. We are going back to Emily is Away 3 to finish the insanity of what Emily is Away 3 is. If you've never seen it, this is Tim and I's continuing drunk series where we play the Emily is Away games and then try to get into high school romances and not have them end terribly. We are going back today. We have somehow stretched a 4-hour game into what will be like 19 hours of content drunken. You can watch this live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames right after Kind of Funny Games Daily. If you miss it, usually all our archives go up on youtube.com/kindoffunnyplays, but I think we take the Emily is Away one and we put them on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames as well. I'm actually kind of unsure, but I know on Kind of Funny Games right now, you can go and watch Emily is Away Part 1. Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Tell me how we actually publish this content, because once I'm drunk, I black out and forget about it. Happy 20th birthday to Max Payne. That's right.
Oh, wow.
It's the 20th anniversary of Max Payne, ladies and gentlemen.
Do we usually just do happy anniversaries for random games? Why does Max Payne get the fanfare?
I would say we usually don't do them, but I love Max Payne. And so when I saw that today, I put that in there because that really makes me feel old. You know what I mean? I feel like when it's like Halo or whatever, they do like, oh man, Halo's anniversary. So I figured Max Payne.
Yeah.
Great game. Bullet time. What up, you know?
Like Microsoft and Xbox and Bungie have Halo covered, whereas nobody's out here wishing Max Payne a happy anniversary. So
yeah, you know, because it's in a weird spot, right? Because it's like Remedy's got their own stuff to deal with now.
And like Rockstar owns the IP.
Yeah. That's not where it started, though. It's a whole thing.
And they're not going to wish it. They're too busy with GTA Online because that's now has its biggest player base than ever. You know what
David,
I mean?
that's the news later on. Thank you to our Patreon producer, Blackjack. Today we're brought to you by Purple Mattress, Canva, and Freshly. But I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be a Roper Report. Time for some news. We got 3 items on the Roper Report. Number 1 will be the long one, and we will go through several bullet points about it, but we will start with the fallout from the Activision lawsuit. I'm sure you all saw this yesterday. Of course, Tim and Tam did a great job breaking it all down for you, but Activision being sued by the state of California for a frat boy culture and just some fucking heinous, toxic, terrible shit that is in that fucking thing. Also, Kevin, everybody's freaking out that your mic was muted, so that you just heard silence there while we just sat in silence while nothing happened. But horrible stuff in this Activision Blizzard lawsuit yesterday. The whole reports have been up, like I said, but like I just said, California, frat boy culture, just fucking terrible, horrible fucking shit over there that you should all know about already. But we'll join the story in progress then. Basically, we have the statements from different people at Activision, people who've worked with them before, and then the fallout that is going through the games right now. So we'll start with Activision Fallout 1A. This is Activision Blizzard's, the president of Activision Blizzard, J. Allen Brack's statement. Jason at Bloomberg has this from an internal email leaked. He tweeted, Blizzard president J. Allen Brack sent out an email to staff last night addressing the allegations from this week's explosive lawsuit, calling them extremely troubling and saying that he'd be, quote, meeting with many of you to answer questions and discuss how we can move forward. I'll now read this email from J. Allen via Jason's tweet. Hello, Blizzard. Hello, Blizzard. He didn't screw up their company name. I did. Hello, Blizzard. I personally have a lot of emotions coming out of yesterday, and I know you do too. The allegations and the hurt of current and former employees are extremely troubling. I know many of you would like to receive more clarity. While I can't comment on the specifics of the case as it's an open investigation, what I can say is that the behavior detailed in the allegations is completely unacceptable. It goes, and then he does a dash without saying dash, and he's going to do that several times. So it goes with saying, my part. It goes with saying, it is completely unacceptable for anyone in the company to face discrimination or harassment. It goes with saying that everyone should feel safe working here, whether we're on campus, at BlizzCon, or working from home. It goes with saying it takes courage to come forward, and all claims brought to the company are investigated by internal and, parentheses, when needed, external investigators. We take these claims very seriously. Claims can be made without fear of retaliation, and many times I attend to them personally, along with our leaders. Stepping back, when I talked with Bobby about taking this job, one of the first things I mentioned was a revered saint of the Brock household, Gloria Steinem. Growing up, the value of women as equals, understanding the work that had to be done for equal treatment, and the fact that there was still much to do were common themes. This is just one of the reasons why the fight for equality is incredibly important to me. People with different backgrounds, views, and experiences are essential for Blizzard, our teams, and our player community. I disdain quote unquote bro culture and have spent my career fighting against it. Iterating on our culture with the same intensity that we bring to our games is imperative, with our values acting as our North Star. This is some of the most important work we do, both as professionals and human beings. A company is more than a legal construct that exists as a piece of paper in a filing cabinet in Delaware. The people that work at the company make it what it is, through their actions and creations. Each of us plays a role in maintaining a place of safety for one another. And it is also up to each of us to continue to craft the Blizzard we want and commit to doing our part in keeping Blizzard great, but always aspiring for more. The leadership team and I will be meeting with many of you to answer questions and discuss how we move forward. In the meantime, I want you to know that you can talk to any manager, any HR partner, any member of the legal team, or to anyone of the executive team, including Hey Jay. If you feel more comfortable talking to someone outside of Blizzard or prefer to be anonymous, you can contact the Way to Play integrity line, and then he puts a phone number there. I feel angry, sad, and a host of other emotions, but I also feel grateful to work alongside a set of leaders and thousands of employees who join me in their commitment to continuous improvement. Thank you, Blizzard. JAB. So, the company line you'd expect, correct, Blessing?
Yeah, this feels like a very standard corporate response for everything going on, and it's one of those things where I read all this and I go, like it rings hollow until it is followed by actual tangible action, and until we start seeing the actual results of the culture actually shifting at Activision. Again, all this rings hollow, and it's very like I know we talked about it to length yesterday with Tim and Tam, but it's one of those things that's just very upsetting to see, especially coming off of reports of what we've seen at other big AAA publishers. Like we're coming off of huge reports from Ubisoft last year, going into this year about very similar stuff, and similar but different. When you look at the actual details of the kind of harassment that was going on at Ubisoft and then the kind of harassment that's going on at Activision, it all speaks to a culture of not taking into account people who aren't male, right? Like not taking into account the diversity of people that work in video games and want to work in video games and want to feel comfortable in working in video games. And so to see this be a thing that exists through multiple, and at this point many big AAA publishers and developers, the biggest AAA publishers and developers, and knowing that it's not even exclusive there, knowing that probably exists too through AA developers, through indie developers, through just the video game development community period.
Yeah,
really upsetting, really sucks, and this response is whatever until I see actual action taken.
100%, right? And I think that's exactly what everybody has to hold them to as a standard. I go to, Riot, who obviously had their own, sexual harassment, toxic workplace. It was a lawsuit, right, that did go there, but it was more reports that came out that changed the face of that company and how they do that, and established a bunch of different boards and signage and what am I looking for? Milestones that you actually keep up with and give updates on. And from the numerous amounts of people we know that work at Riot, both on the record and off, they do seem to say that it is a better place now because of that, and because of those moves that were made and the changes that were changed there. And so yeah, you can say all of this, right, and it's all fine, cool. My door is always open, but then you go back to the reports, right, that are being broken by Blizzard or by Bloomberg over here, and it's like, well, would you trust this company to go report these things to them? Is that how you would go? You know what I mean? Like he talks about the bravery of coming out with these claims, right? And it's like, that's 100% correct as people put their careers on the line, right? Trying to talk about how toxic and terrible this place is.
Yeah.
I have another statement if you want it before we get there.
Go for it. I know there's a lot to get into. So
there's a lot to get into today. And it's one of those, I don't know if we want to do it piece by piece or get everything out there and come back to it. But that, like I said, was Activision Blizzard President J. Allen Brock. Now we have Executive Vice President of Corporate Affairs, Fran Townsend. Fran put out an email, not Fran Mirabella, Fran Townsend put out an email as well. Megan Farokhmanesh from Axios got it. And this is the tweet she had put up. An email sent to Activision staff from Fran Townsend doubles down on claims that the recent lawsuit is, quote, distorted and untrue with, quote, out of context stories. Megan doesn't post the entire email. It is out there. But the two things she clips out here that I wanted to read like this. This is, again, Fran from Activision, Executive Vice President of Corporate Affairs over there. She says, as the executive sponsor of the ABK Employee Women's Network and our Chief Compliance Officer, I wanted to reach out to you. I know this has been difficult for many of us. A recently filed lawsuit presented a distorted and untrue picture of our company, including factually incorrect, old, and out-of-context stories, some from more than a decade ago. The Activision companies of today, the Activision companies that I know, are great companies with good values. When I joined the executive leadership team, I was certain that I was joining a company where I would be valued, treated with respect, and provided opportunities equal to those afforded to the men of the company. For me, this has been true during this time, my time. As the leader, I am committed to making sure that the experience I have is the same as the rest of the organization. We have a leadership team that is committed to these principles in every way. We work at a company that truly values equality and fairness. Rest assured that leadership is committed to continuing to maintain a safe, fair, and inclusive workplace. We cannot let egregious actions of others and a truly meritless and irresponsible lawsuit damage our culture of respect and equal opportunity for all employees. We aspire in our company to do great things in our games, in our impact on society, and in our work environment. We continue to hold firm to our principles and invest, as we have in the past, the resources to ensure quality opportunities for all employees. We remain committed as a leadership team to doing what is right. Now, again, not the entire email, blessed, but enough of it there to be like, okay, a different tone. A bit more aggressive from Fran than it was from Jay, right?
Yeah, this is a really upsetting statement that the first time I read it, I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, what the fuck is going on over here? And honestly, I think Fran sums it up by saying the Activision companies of today, the Activision companies that I know are great companies with good values. And I think he sums it up with the companies that you know, she knows. Like, the Activision company that you know as the executive vice president for corporate affairs is going to be different than the Activision company that the actual workers there and devs there and people who are not the executive vice president there are going to know. Like, you do not know what people are on the ground floor of the company are going through and actually experiencing. And again, like I don't even know how to react to this kind of statement. Like, it feels like a hey, we're getting a lawsuit, so we have to cover our ass. We have to say something so that we're not giving way to this lawsuit to actually have merit. But for them to actually put this statement out, I forget. Sorry, was this something that they released publicly, or was this an email?
No, these are internal emails that Megan from Axios and then before Jason from Bloomberg got their hands on.
Gotcha. Regardless, very upsetting, and it's a sucky statement to hear.
Well, it's also the push and pull, right? The whiplash of it, where you have Jay Allen coming in, right, and being very much like, hey, this sucks. I'm upset too. You're upset. You can talk to us. And then you have Fran coming in and being like, hey, this is a meritless lawsuit. This is distorted. This isn't the Activision I know. And you nail it that, all right, cool. It's not the Activision you know. It's not what the people on the ground floor know. It's not what your developers know. It's not what people on these trips where, you know, her boss brings butt plugs and all this shit know. Like, that's fucking outrageous and heinous. And are you fucking kidding me that you're going to try to discredit those? And then to sit there and be like, hey, man, some of these out of context stories, some of these from a decade ago, it's like, well, fine. I mean, if you want it to be from more than a decade ago, I understand you can't make this statement while there's pending legal action, but maybe own that. Maybe talk about the fact that, hey, yeah, you know what? I did come on because I knew that Activision fucking sucked beforehand. I know that a decade ago, there were a bunch of clowns in here being a bunch of assholes and horrible people. And we want to change that. I saw what J. Allen Brock, envisioned. I've talked to Bob, and I don't know any of this. I talked to Bobby Kotick, and he wants this mandate of what it is, which I sincerely doubt. Like, maybe that's what you do. That's the messaging. That's the message you give your people. That's how you inspire them of like, listen, it's a dark time right now, but we're trying to get out of it. We're marching towards the light. Not like this is all fucking lies and old shit. Get the fuck out of here.
It's a large sweeping under the rug that I look at that email and I go back to J. Allen Brack's email, and it totally makes me think, okay, cool. So this is all bullshit also. Like, if this is how you guys are thinking about it internally, and this is how you guys are thinking about it when your emails are behind the scenes and aren't actually being put out to the world, then why should I look at JAB's email and go, okay, cool, this is worth merit. Okay, cool, they're actually thinking about us, or they actually care about what we're going through. When behind closed doors you have all this bullshit to say about how no, this is all none of this is real, like, these are unfounded, all these things, when again you have plenty of employees that you can speak to that could probably speak to the fact that no, this is the case, like these are things that we actually go through and have to deal with in the environment here. Like, it all really sucks.
Yeah. And again, these are both internal emails sent to the Activision staff company wide, right? So it's like, what a weird double speak, getting these different, what are you doing? Still more to this, though, obviously. So that's what's happening internally at Activision with Megan and Jason's reporting and emails, right? From a more top level thing, we're going to go over to Eurogamer, where Ishrak Subhan writes, games and social media updates are on hold for Activision as well. It looks like a new Overwatch map was going to be revealed yesterday before the announcement was pulled. In an article that's now been taken offline, Dextero reported that a new deathmatch map called Malvento, based in Italy, was to be added to the public test region. According to the article, the map, quote, features a mix of both tight corridors and more open outdoor areas, leading to a blend of close quarters combat while still leaving the door open for the likes of Widowmaker to excel from afar, end quote. The map was set to be released on August 17th, though it's unclear whether Blizzard will now stick to that date. Since the filing of the lawsuit alleging sexual harassment and a frat boy culture at Activision Blizzard by the state of California, it appears the publisher has paused all product announcements as well as social media posts. So again, that was supposed to go over to the public test thing. That didn't happen, and it seems like all quiet on the Western Front now as you batten down the hatches through this PR. I want to say nightmare, but you usually say a PR nightmare when there's a faux pas, not that your whole company's toxic from the inside out and this is going on and all these people have not that the state of California is suing you. You know what I mean? Again, it's not rotten throughout. There's a lot of great people at Activision that are working in shitty things or have had shitty bosses or whatever, but like, it's not a PR. What a PR disaster that state of California has enough information to sue us that we're a toxic, horrible, sexist place.
Yeah, and I think the silver lining in this story specifically is that it is enough of a thing being reported on that it is causing them to stop and go, oh shit, all right, we can't even promote shit because
we can't power through this.
Yeah, like this isn't something we can power through because it's all eyes on us now. Like, I go through, when I originally read the story, I read it on Bloomberg, but as I search up, if I search up Activision, right, and go over to the news tab on Google, it goes beyond just the Kotakus and PC Gamers, right? It is BBC reporting on it. It is Forbes reporting on it. It is the New York Times reporting on it. Like, this is way bigger than the games industry and the video games news in general, right? Like, this has reached the point to where now, like, Activision really is in a place where it's kind of make or break in terms of how you react to this and how you handle this and how now you promote your games in the midst of this.
Exactly. In that same line of thought, we're going to go over to GameSpot, where Cameron Koch reports WoW players call for removal of NPCs named after ex-director identified in the new lawsuit. World of Warcraft players are now calling for 2 NPCs named after former WoW creative director Alex Afrabiji to be removed from the game, following explicit mention of Afrabiji's alleged pattern of harassment against female employees in a recent lawsuit filed by California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing against Activision Blizzard. Am I in the ballpark on this one? Afrasiabi? Am I saying that? How would you say this?
Afrasiabi.
Afrasiabi, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Who unceremoniously left Blizzard in the summer of 2020, is the only person named directly in the state of California's lawsuit in reference to sexual harassment allegations. The lawsuit claims he would frequently hit on female employees by attempting to kiss them and put his arms around them. One portion of the lawsuit that is particularly telling is the claim that his suite was nicknamed the Crosby Suite in an apparent misspelled reference to alleged rapist Bill Cosby, who in 2018 was sentenced to 10 years in jail for sexual assault charges. Charges would have recently been overturned by the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court. The lawsuit states that he
terrible. Jesus.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? If you want to stop the story right here.
Like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is, oh God, let alone the fact that I guess I'm rusty. And this is not me throwing shade at GameSpot or Cameron at all. I'm rusty on, being a real journalist and writing anything. Like the fact that we now have to refer to Bill Cosby as an alleged rapist because the thing was overturned. Like, read the deposition. He fucking raped people. All right, like done. Bill Cosby's a slime ball. Get the fuck out of here. That's not wild. Me going at GameSpot or the reporter though.
Of course, like for GameSpot, it's a thing where, as a journalistic outlet, if it's alleged, you have to put alleged because you can be come at for libel and etc. So that makes sense. But even still, wild that it's back at the place where now. It's
and then throw that part out of it and just be the Crosby suite, an apparent misspelled reference. You can't even spell it right, or you're trying to get around it. What the fuck is going on? Yeah. Back to the article. The lawsuit states that. I already forgot how to say this name. Sorry. Afrasiabi?
Afrasiabi. Or, wow. Afrasiabi.
Oh, I see how you do. Okay, hold on. So I'd be like that if I was smelling it. Okay. Afrasiabi. Thank you very much. The lawsuit states, Afrasiabi's alleged pattern of harassment was known to Blizzard executives. I will repeat that. The lawsuit states that Afrasiabi's alleged pattern of harassment was known to Blizzard executives, but that no corrective measures were taken due to his seniority, with Blizzard president J. Allen Brack allegedly only giving him a metaphorical slap on the wrist in response to his behavior. Get the fuck out of here, J. Allen Brack. You're going to come at this fucking statement you had earlier? Afrasiabi joined Blizzard in 2004 as a quest designer on Vanilla WoW. He would later go on to serve as creative director for the game's Warlords of Draenor and Legion expansions. Now players on the game's forums and Reddit are calling for the two human NPCs named after Afrasiabi to be removed from the game. The two NPCs in question are Field Marshal Afrasiabi, found in Alliance capital city of Stormwind, and Lord Afrasiabi. Lord
Sastraz.
Found in Wimrest Temple in North End. As of writing, both NPCs are still present in-game, with the Field Marshal able to be found in both WoW Classic and the game's most recent expansion, Shadowlands. The Field Marshal appears to be phasing in and out of existence in Shadowlands version of the game, though the reason for this is currently unclear. Players are currently using an in-game toy to post warning signs around the Stormwind NPC, with some Horde players even taking matters into their own hands, invading the Alliance city to dispose of the Field Marshal personally. Other players are calling for even more drastic measures, requesting that quests created by Afrasiabi be reworked or removed entirely. Numerous in-game items are named in reference to Afrasiabi as well, and his influence on the game as a whole is a big one. As a quest designer in the game's early days, he designed some of WoW's most iconic quest lines and areas, including the quest chain for the legendary weapon Thunder Fury and Death Knight starting zone in Wrath of the Lich King.
And this goes back to why I read that J. Allen Brack email, and I'm like, it all rings so hollow when you look at the details of the story, and they knew exactly what Afrasiabi was up to, and it was a slap on the wrist, right? Like no actual consequence, no actual like, hey, let's let this guy go, or let's suspend him, or let's have an actual reaction to.
Let's make the hard decision of taking out a leader. It'll set back the project. It'll throw off the game. It'll mess up timetables. Yada yada. And also maybe we're friends with this person. Maybe we're not. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, and like when you have like going back to the beginning of it, which is one of the most egregious parts of it, right? Where they call his suite the Crosby suite. Like when you have that, and it's a thing that's talked about enough to where that people are giving it nicknames and people are thinking about it in that sort of way. Like removing a leader is hard, sure, but when you leave a leader in that is basically poison to the people working there, right? Like what happens when you leave poison in? It has even worse effects, right? And that's in this case, it is something that is affecting a wide amount of people, the people that you're trying to serve, who are your workers in this situation, the people who you're trying to uplift, and give an environment where they can work on your game and produce the best game possible. When these people are suffering under leadership that is this terrible and that is very blatantly and obviously doing shit that is making the workforce feel uncomfortable, then you got to do something about that. Like that is really upsetting that he was just left there and had just a slap on the wrist. Bless you. Greg's sneezing right now for the audio listeners. Oh, it's really bad, man. Oh man, this is like 9 sneezes in a row. Oh, 10. Oh my God. They just keep getting bigger.
That's how I sneeze, brother. You know how it is.
That's
I was
beautiful.
like, damn, I hope he sees that I'm sneezing because I knew you were ending your sentence, and I was like, oh God, here we go. No, it's just how I sneeze. Yeah.
I wish you left the mic on. I would have loved to hear that.
You've never heard? Oh, we've never worked in the same office together.
Yeah, I've heard you sneeze on podcasts for sure, but I like
Sure.
hearing it because it's over the top.
It is over
it
the
adds
top.
character to the podcast.
Sure, thank you
The
very
Brett
much. Yeah,
sneezes.
yeah, exactly. No, yeah. My mom sneezes. I sneeze like my mom, but my mom sneezes even more intense and longer than I do. So there you
Really?
go. Yeah, yeah.
Is it
Like,
allergies? What is it?
I don't know. Genetics. I mean, I don't know what's like. That's just how I sneeze. Whether
Okay.
I'm sick, whether it's allergies, whether I inhaled some pepper or whatever. Like that's just how it is.
Mm.
That's how it's going to be for me. Yeah. So while we were talking about this, I wanted to call out. Oh yeah, here it is. JW Gamer for Life said, "Am I the only one who thinks this is low on the poll of things that need to be done?" No, this is very low. But I think that's what we're talking about, right? Is that we're talking from the giant top is inverted pyramid, right? We're talking from the giant top of this story that the state of California is suing Activision Blizzard for being a bad workplace, a toxic workplace, a sexual harassment workplace, right? And then we're coming all the way down to what that means on an actual action level. And that's the other thing to do with when you get any of this information is wrestle with it is like, what do you do with it? Okay, cool. This company sucks. And again, I say that and I'm painting with the broad brush of leadership of this company sucks. People in places of power at this company suck. Not the hundreds of people who made your favorite game or whatever are working on WoW vanilla or, blah, blah, blah. What do you do with that information, right? And so I'm personally the way I wanted to format this entire thing, and this will obviously be an ongoing conversation on Games Daily and lots of our products, I'm sure. It's that you start with the top of how big the story is and what's going on, right? We start from the president of the company talking about this stuff, and then we drill down to the small story that is the named instance in the lawsuit that is also calling out the fact that the president allegedly knew this and only gave him a metaphorical slap on the wrist. If you don't remember, now that we're down here in the very specific part of the inverted pyramid, the tight part, you go back to the top. We started with the president being like, oh, I'm angry too, guys. You know what? I'm right there with you. What was it? I think he even had it in here. Like, I despise bro. Yeah, I disdain bro culture, and I have spent my career fighting it. Have you?
Hollow.
Have you? Because again, when we get into the specifics of this lawsuit, right, we get all the way down here, bam, we found that it seems that no, you didn't. You know what I mean? No, you didn't. Crosby Suite. No, you didn't give a fuck about this.
Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. I know there's more to touch on, which I think Bungie has a really good response here regarding it.
That's where we're going to go next. Yeah, Bungie put up several tweets as a response to this, not specifically naming Activision, but talking about it, right? And talking about studio culture. Of course, Bungie worked closely with Activision on Destiny for quite some time before they got Destiny all to themselves and are now independent with it. But here come the tweets. Sugar Stan joins late and says, are they saying Crosby? Yes.
It is Crosby.
We're saying Crosby. I will reread it for everybody who's missing it. One portion of the lawsuit that is particularly telling is the claim that his suite was nicknamed the Crosby Suite, an apparent misspelled reference to the alleged rapist, Bill Cosby. So they are putting an R into Cosby to make it Crosby, an apparent misspelled reference to the alleged rapist. Back to Bungie's thing. We're not back to it. We're starting into Bungie's thing. Bungie is built on empowering our people, no matter who they are, where they are from, or how they identify. We have a responsibility to acknowledge, reflect, and do what we can to push back on a persistent culture of harassment, abuse, and inequality that exists in our industry. It's our responsibility to ensure this type of behavior is not tolerated at Bungie at any level, and that we never excuse it or sweep it under the rug. While the accounts in this week's news are difficult to read, we hope they will lead to justice, awareness, and accountability. We have a zero tolerance policy at Bungie for environments that support this toxic culture, and we are committed to rooting them out to defend those who are at risk. Women, POC, people of color, and underrepresented communities have nothing to gain by reliving their trauma. We believe them when they come forward with reports of abuse or harassment. We don't pretend that Bungie is perfect, and no one has experienced harassment while working here. We will not tolerate it and will confront it head on. And we will continue to do the work every day to be better. Our goal is to continue to improve the experience for everyone working at Bungie and do our part to make the gaming industry as a whole to be more welcoming and inclusive.
Cool. Like it's a good statement. You know, it comes back. For me, it always comes back to the thing of, you know, I love seeing action. I love seeing things followed up. I love that they put out this statement publicly for people to read and see. Because I think it's always a good thing to reinforce that, hey, we don't stand for this bullshit. We want women and people of color and underrepresented communities to not have to go through this bullshit and not have to be sexually harassed, not have to deal with leadership that is mismanaging their power, all this stuff. I think that's always a good thing to reiterate publicly and reiterate in ways that like confront your audience with that messaging. But again, like, you know, from any developer or publisher who continues to put the stuff out, I love seeing follow up. You know, I go back to entirely different situation, but Insomniac, after we got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, the amount of folks at the studio who were like, by the way, like, we didn't crunch for this. Like, we worked on this in a very healthy environment, and actually seeing the follow up from employees being like, no, we love working here. Like, this is an awesome thing. And of course, that's going to change from person to person. Experiences may differ depending on what developer you go to. Even if you work at the same developer, you might have a different experience from the person you work next to. Still, the fact that people are willing to come out and talk about healthy work situations is such a good and amazing thing, and I hope we see more of those stories.
Sure. I mean,
and I hope we see that from Bungie too.
You talk about it, right? And that's the thing of, you need to normalize things being normal. You talk about Insomniac, I can jump right to Supergiant as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Hades, game of the year for on many different outlets and awards, right? And guess what? We didn't crunch on that. They came out and talked about that. And I think it is the same thing you see in the microcosm of internet comments, where again, we can put up a show and we can have 100 comments in it, and it'll be the 2 comments that are negative that are the ones that stick with you, that you're eating dinner on later. I'm like, oh, motherfucker, I can't believe he said yeah, right? Like, it's this whole thing of the negativity is what catches your eye and draws attention. And so the normal thing and being positive, like, how many times you're a kind of funny best friend. I assume you've heard my Office reference from fucking forever ago, right? Of like, when I didn't like the second to last season of The Office, and I started to write a mean tweet about it, and I stopped and I deleted it. And Steimer was with me at the time, and she was like, why are you doing that? I'm like, this is the same thing people do to me. Like, somebody tried on this, somebody worked on this. Why would I put out that? Why put that out there, right? I don't think to put out positivity for everything I like, that I enjoy, or that I watch, right? It's more, you watch something and you like it and you move on with your life. You watch something or play something, you don't like it, then you want to go tell the world about it. I'm like, oh man, this sucked, I wasted my time. It's similar here, right? Of cool, like, oh my God, look at this. Everybody look, they crunched over here. They've said they crunched. It's a shitty work spot, blah, blah. And that does need to be called out. But in the same hand, you need to have the other side of like, no, but look, Insomniac, in Supergiant, and the list goes on of people who are doing things and not burning their employees out. Like, how you got to raise those stories up and then learn from them, right? Like, this is always the best part about GDC, is going to these panels and seeing developers share best practices with other developers. This is how we did this. This is how we made Hades without burning it. This is how we made Ratchet and Clank without crunch. How do you go and do that so you change the industry that way as well? Don't get me wrong. You need to call out the bullshit, but you also need to be offering alternatives for it.
Yeah, understanding that there's a beacon of hope goes a long way in terms of trying to eliminate the toxic environments. Like, being able to look at other devs and go, well, they're doing it right. Like, Insomniac is doing it right. X-Developer is doing it right? Like, they're able to put out this game without crunch. They're able to curate an environment that doesn't have this bro culture in it. They're able to like, have leadership that doesn't treat their employees like shit. Being able to have those examples comes back to us being, okay, cool, this doesn't have to be the case. Like, just a few minutes ago in chat, I was reading, right, you talk about people who come through and troll. Like, there was one person in chat that was like, well, Pikmin 4 isn't out yet, right? Like, is that because of crunch, or is that because they were not willing to crunch? And it's like, yeah, who gives a shit if they're not willing, if they're not wanting to crunch? As long as those developers are making a game in the best environment, and that leads to a good game, then that's what you want. I'm fine with not playing Pikmin 4 right now. I can play Pikmin 4 when Pikmin 4 comes out, just as long as that game is good and it's developed in a situation that isn't leading to the developers, like, suffering, like you're seeing the stories coming out of Activision. I think that is the best case scenario, and we're able to point to devs who aren't doing that, and still being able to make games that are game of the year level. When you look at something like Hades, I think that is the best case scenario, and being able to have those is just going to be healthy for the industry to learn from them.
Speaking of learning from it, and also I don't know if you saw my double take. We've been talking about this for 40 minutes. Holy shit, I did not realize that. You know what? I will get to this. I'll read the question now, and I want to answer it after we do an ad break. All right. Iztari writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, and says, with everything coming out from Activision Blizzard and what happened last year with Ubisoft, what do you think is games media's role in it? It still irks me that everyone covers Ubisoft games as if nothing happened/is happening there. I know that some good people might be affected if the media didn't cover their games or mention that the harassments or mention the harassments at every turn, but isn't that worth asking for fair working conditions for all? It's a fascinating question. It's one I want to talk to Blessing about. But first, if you want to write in with fascinating questions, remember, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where you can be a part of the show. But more important for right now, you could go there to get the show ad-free, but you didn't go there, Jack. So let me tell you about our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by Purple. Doesn't it seem like the world's against you from getting a good night's sleep this time of year? Boy, I know. It's summertime. It gets hot. You're over there, you're flipping around in the bed, you can't get comfortable, it's a million degrees, you're flipping the pillows, you're still upset, you're sweating all the time, it's disgusting. But when you have a Purple mattress, ladies and gentlemen, you can sleep cool and comfortable no matter what life throws at you. That's because only Purple mattresses have the grid. Its unique ventilated design allows for air to flow through to help you sleep cool, even when it feels like 1,000 degrees out. We know all about Purple because, of course, Joey Noel uses a Purple mattress. She loves it. She says the grid is great, better than foam, and of course, it has been keeping her cool for quite some time. Try your Purple mattress risk-free with free shipping and free returns. Financing is available too. Purple is comfort reinvented. Right now, you'll get 10% off any order of $200 or more. Go to purple.com/games10 and use the promo code games10. That's purple.com/games10. Promo code games10 for 10% off any order of $200 or more. Purple.com/games10. Promo code games10. Terms apply. Up next is Canva. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that we use Canva here? It's a thing that helps you learn. It helps you figure out what you're gonna do. Are you working in Photoshop? Are you working in video? Are you doing stuff like that? Canva's got you covered. That's why Tim's been using Canva Pro. Canva Pro is the easy to use design platform that has everything you need to design like a pro. It's a quick, easy, and affordable way to design whatever you need. No matter what you're creating and sharing, Canva Pro has everything you need in one place, including a collection of over 75 million premium photo, videos, audio, and graphics. Tim's been using this. Roger's been using this. Nick has been using this. Of course, anybody who's making anything at Kind of Funny that's not just screaming into a microphone like me, they need graphics, you need videos, you need to get in there, you need audio like they're talking about. Canva Pro has it all. It's perfect for small creators, big creators, any creator. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use our promo code. That's canva.me/KFGD. canva.me/KFGD. Canva.me/KFGD for more. And our final sponsor of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is Freshly. Dinner time can be chaotic, but with Freshly, it's easy. Their chefs take care of you and your meals for a few nights a week and take the pressure off of you. Freshly offers chef-made, nutrient-packed, delicious meals delivered fresh to your door, no cooking required. Ordering is easy. You visit freshly.com and choose from over 30 delicious, satisfying, better-for-you meals like steak peppercorn, sausage baked penne, or their chicken pesto bowl. Freshly can fit your lifestyle with a variety of plans and meals to pick what you want when you need it. It'll do your dietary needs, preferences, taste, and family size. I still subscribe my father to Freshly. I go through, I pick the little meals on freshly.com, and then he gets them prepared, and he can just take them to work, or when he comes home from work and he's exhausted, he can just pop them in and cook them right there, or, warm them up and be ready to eat. Nothing, he doesn't need to worry about it. Dad doesn't need to cook. Number one crane operator Greg Miller doesn't have time for that. Right now, Freshly is offering our listeners $40 off your first 2 orders when you go to freshly.com/games. Stop stressing about dinner. Go to freshly.com/games for $40 off your first 2 orders. That's freshly.com/games for $40 off your first 2 orders. We rejoin Iztari's question here. Again, the thrust of it is like, what is games media's role in all of this? And it is a complicated question, I feel personally. And I think that's the best way to start it off. If you aren't, and this I swear is not a Patreon plug, if you aren't a Patreon person, I did an AMA recently over on Patreon, as we do every month. We switch off who does it. And this question had come up about Ubisoft, and I had asked people's opinion of it, because it was very much, hey, Greg, how do you think Kind of Funny should cover Ubisoft going forward? And now you can put, hey, Greg, how do you think Activision Blizzard should be covered? And so on and so forth that way. Because there's the conversation of, well, these horrible things have happened, and of course these companies, especially in Activision Blizzard, you won't see change, right, until they see their bottom line affected. So it is this question. This is when you see the people online start up, hey, let's boycott games. Hey, I wish podcasts like Kind of Funny wouldn't talk about these games at all anymore. I wish, etc. And I feel like there's a kaleidoscope of options for you. And as I talked about in the AMA, for me, doing this for almost 15 years now, right? And granted, Kind of Funny is an IGN, but that is still how I was trained. I still think of coverage and news and the shows and the way I thought about content at IGN. And so my take on it, and this is very Kind of Funny specific, is not to say, okay, boom, we're done with Blizzard, we're done with Activision, we're done with Ubisoft, we're not going to play those games, we're not going to stream those games, we're not going to talk about those games. And again, I should say too, by the way, heads up, that I'm working without a net on this. This is me talking to you from my heart, and this is something that is, I will tell you at the top of this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, and you are a Kind of Funny best friend, and you know me, I don't have the answers. I don't know what's right or wrong. I don't know that this is the course and yada, yada, and we could change this. And I urge you to please sound off in the comments and in the chat and all that stuff, but comments when I can read them, because I'm trying to talk to you right now, with what your take on it and what you think our role in all of this is. My take on it is similar to what we just talked about with Crunch, where it's like, you can't just highlight the bad, you have to highlight the good. But I also don't think you can just highlight the good, because then you don't know about the bad, and that people get away with that. My thought on it is how we handled Riot, which is a cheat to an extent, kind of, because none of us really play Riot games, right? I think Andy might play that one. I forget the name of it right now. Valorant. But it's this idea that we're Kind of Funny Games Daily, which to me is a news show, which to me is what's happening in the industry, which can be good, bad, or otherwise, right? I wouldn't feel comfortable being like, all right, cool, these people have done bad things before, and now they're dead to us, we're never going to talk about them. I do feel comfortable being like, when we talk about them, always bringing this up. I think the fact that I bring up Riot all the time here, and again, I only know Riot from the game's news side of it, not from the gameplay side of it. I think that they, had these issues brought up. They were also heinous. They were also terrible. And then they put people in charge that have now communicated openly, and I assume honestly about it, to a point that you see the updates, you know about it. We take them in quote unquote to task about that by providing you with the information. I always think of our role in all of this, right, is giving you information, and then you do what you want with the information. And I think in a lot of ways that kind of take can be taken as a cop-out when you talk about serious issues. But for us, it is the idea of like, listen, here's what we've heard about. This is what's going on with Activision Blizzard today. I think it's fucking horrible. I don't buy that. Oh man, I've been against the bro culture for years, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't sound like it based on the information here. We give you the information, and then you get to go take it with it. But then that does net out to, all right, cool. Like, what do you do with the information then when it is about Warzone, right? We talk about that. I think these conversations come up about that. I think Kind of Funny isn't exactly, and I might be speaking out of turn here, right, for Iztari. I don't think that Kind of Funny is necessarily in the bucket he's talking about, because he's saying, I know some of these people, blah, 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 would be effective if the media didn't cover their games or mention the harassments at every turn, but isn't it worth? I'd like to think we bring up the harassment. I'd like to think we talk about that. I remember at when Yves Guillemot put out his statement about everything going on at Ubisoft in a separate video before UB Forward last year, right? We talked about that during UB Forward. Like, that was a fucked up thing to do. Like, why would you do that? That's how we
started the stream. Like, we talked about it right beforehand.
Yeah. And so the conversation goes on that way. And again, I know this isn't a question, at least I think, specifically aimed at us, right? Because we're not doing all right, cool, here's the new preview of this, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what the right thing is for an IGN, for anybody else. I can only speak to us. And so, Blessing, I turn it to you. Are you in line with what I think so far, as what I've said here? Like, what is your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and I hear you, and I think there are a range of options and a range of different types of ways to tackle this and handle this. I think you comparing Kind of Funny to IGN puts it in a very interesting place, because that's how I've always viewed Kind of Funny as well. Right. And then Kind of Funny is is a hybrid of things, because we have KFGD, which is our video game news show. We have Gamescast, where we review games. We have PS I Love You, and Xcast, where we fan out about games. And having this range of shows and range of different kinds of products that we make puts us in this interesting box, because when I was talking about this about Ubisoft either last week or the week beforehand, where it was on a KFG with Tim where I was like, yeah, I'm not sure how to handle this aside from giving people the most context as possible and allowing people to make that choice based off of that context.
Yeah.
As somebody who's doing this in the reporting fashion, like that is, I do think that is our role, is to talk about it as much as possible and give people as much information as possible so that they can take that information and decide, all right, how do I want to react to this? Do I want to take to Twitter? Do I want to not buy a game? Do I want to inform my friends about what's going on? Like, how do I want to respond to this? For me, our role is to give people the tools, the tools enough to be able to make those decisions. But also at the same time, when it comes to Kind of Funny, as much as we are like an IGN or a GameSpot, we also are a YouTube channel, and we also are content creators. And there are quite a few weeks ago, maybe about like a month or so ago, when I was scrolling through Twitter trying to understand, there was a new trend that was keep Ubisoft accountable. I was trying to understand that trend and where it came from, and it took me back to a YouTube channel that was this Ubisoft fan YouTube channel where they make content about Assassin's Creed and a bunch of other Ubisoft games. And they had made a whole video about how they were not going to cover Ubisoft games anymore or support Ubisoft games anymore. And I think it's that interesting spectrum of what kind of content creator you are versus like what your role is, where I saw that video and I totally got it because I was like, okay, cool. They are Ubisoft centered. Like they play these games to do Let's Plays, they do streams, they fan out about this stuff. And I totally understand from that perspective being like, hey, every video I make is support for Ubisoft. Every video I make is money into Ubisoft's pocket versus an IGN, which is we put out articles to inform people and make sure people are in the know. And we kind of sit in the middle of that spectrum and at the same time all over that spectrum in a way where I don't necessarily know if there is a right decision on how to cover that. I think it is, for Kind of Funny as well, a case by case thing where, since we're a channel that's made up of 10 to 13 to 15 people, I know for me, if I came to you, Greg, and I was like, hey, I don't want to play Ubisoft games, you would be like, bless, that's fine. Like, you don't have to play
Totally
Ubisoft
cool.
games. Like, you guys don't make me play anything, for the most part. If The Last of Us Part 2 comes out or Part 3 comes out, I'm going to play that for review because I'm on the PlayStation podcast. But for the most part, I'm sure even if I came to you and I was like, hey, I really don't want to play Last of Us Part 2, you probably wouldn't make me play Last of Us Part 2. And so, like, on the individual basis, we kind of have that choice, but I think it then comes back to, well, am I informed enough to do my job in the best way possible? Then, if I didn't play Last of Us Part 3, how equipped am I going to be for a PlayStation podcast? And am I doing my job the best I can for the audience in that case? Like, am I giving the audience the content that they want, that they look forward to? And how does that balance out with if X developer is troubled or X developer has issues or crunch or whatever the thing may be? It is a thing to balance in so many different directions, and I think there are plenty of options on how to go with it. But I think for me, the thing that I feel most comfortable doing is being on KFGD and being able to talk about it as honestly and openly as possible, so that people are just aware about where we're coming from and where we come from with these situations specifically, so that they can then make their own decisions.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Yeah. I mean, as we always love to do on this show, as you know, any kind of funny content is have the conversations we should probably have behind closed doors on a meeting. Yeah. We would never force you to play something, obviously. And I know you know that, but even I think you bring up The Last of Us, right? If, there's been reports, obviously, of, Naughty Dog crunching or whatever, but like, whatever, if there was anything about a PlayStation owned developer, right, that you were like, man, that's fucked up and I don't want to play their games. Even that, for you being on a PlayStation show, we'd be like, okay, cool, we'll figure it out. And then also, obviously, it would reflect out through the content. And I also think that, again, to what we're talking about of putting information out there, right? Like, I think when you say that, it could be really easy to twist that into both sidesism of like, well, this, but also that. Like, in today's reporting on all this, I think it's pretty clear. Like, man, fuck these people, right? Fuck the people that are in charge being assholes of this company, right? And I think I think that's powerful in terms of setting an example and giving information. If it was that we were going around the table about Game X, right, and we came to you and you're like, cool, oh, I didn't play it and I never will because of X, Y, and Z, right? It would be like, oh shit, fuck, okay, like that is information to give to people. And again, we're personalities in the news organization and everything else it is, whatever. But speaking back to, and to put a pin in this, obviously, like I said, this Activision stuff, I don't think is going to stop for the next news cycle. I bet you get more updates next week and stuff like that, let alone, again, having to have these conversations when we do talk about Activision Blizzard, if there's been actual change, if there's been anything that's actually netted out of this. I think it's important. I saw it going through a few times, obviously, and our mods are killing it right now on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames for a heated topic. Thank you very much. But of course, the little kind of funny statement that goes up from Nightbot talking about what we do. If you're not in the Twitch chat, it goes through every so often on a regular basis, but it reads like this. Kind of Funny is a community all about, quote, being better to one another, end quote. That means showcasing empathy in each and every interaction, listening to one another, and supporting fellow best friends. There is no room for hate, bigotry, trolling, racism, sexism, ableism, or any other terrible thing the internet is known for. And so that, again, I think is what the company stance is on all of this shit, of course. So, you know, it's always, this is the same thing we've struggled with many different issues, right? Of like, I saw this happening and I was using it to quote retweet statements from people more directly affect retweet the reports of this, right? I didn't think you needed Greg Miller to step in and say this is bad and fucked up, but I also know that I have this pulpit I'm able to step up to and say, hey, we just read all this shit and that's totally fucked up, so do what you got to do with it. It's been an hour of this. Let me give you two news stories before we get out of here and do the classic kind of funny thing, which is pivot from a very serious, I'd like to think, great discussion about what's going on to me and Tim getting drunk and playing a video game. Number two on the Roper Report, GTA Online is setting some records. This is Eddie over at GameSpot. Grand Theft Auto Online's big new Los Santos Tuners update was a huge success for the multiplayer game. Rockstar said more players joined GTA Online for the launch of the update than any previous update in the game's history. Rockstar did not share any specific player figure, which is no surprise given that Rockstar and parent company Take-Two rarely, if ever, share exact numbers for the game. Whatever the case, Rockstar said it plans to celebrate the milestone by giving all GTA Online players $250,000 in GTA Online cash. Everyone who signs into GTA Online and plays the game between today, July 23rd, and Sunday, August 1st, will get the cash deposited into their Maze bank account within 72 hours. The money will start going out Monday, July 26th. If that wasn't enough, Tuners news for you. I got a press release today from his debut as Kenny, aka KDJ, the illicit auto scene contact known in the LS car meet circuits from GTA Online Los Santos Tuners. Moody Man brings Kenny's Backyard Boogie to Apple Music today. Blessing, you've been playing this update. What's the report?
Dude, I've actually been really enjoying it. It's rare that a new update brings me in and has me actually really like kind of addicted to the loop of that content in GTA Online. Usually there will be a new update and I'll check it out for a little bit, but then I go, oh, this seems like a lot to start a business and spend all this money and I have to like set up all these things to then automatically get me paid, but then I'm automatically paying people and going through all the steps. And usually I pivot from that to just doing races and shit. But this new update, the LS Tuners update, is actually pretty cool. I talked about it a little bit earlier this week. But for those who may have missed it, right? It is basically GTA Online trying to do their own Fast and Furious style thing where you buy an auto shop, you can tune cars and you can get really deep into the customization. They've added new cars for it. And there's also a car meet that you can go to hang out with friends and show off your cars and drift and do a bunch of cool stuff. And it's honestly like it's really impressive for me that GTA Online is actually able to put out updates that feel substantially cool. Like if I've been playing with Zach Zweisen over at Kotaku, who actually does like the out today section for KFGD is where we get our out today from.
We love you, Zach.
Zach is awesome. I've been playing quite a bit with him, and he plays even more GTA Online than I do. And I think he mentioned that like really put it into perspective for me this week is that, dude, you can play GTA Online for months and months and months straight and not experience all the content that's there, because with each new content update, it feels like they're adding a new gameplay loop to the game where you can go in and you can just focus on the casino stuff, or you can go in and you can focus on lowriders. You can go in and you can focus on the bunker missions or the Cayo Perico heist or do X, Y, and Z thing and ignore everything else in GTA Online. It is really it is probably the most I've role played in a video game when it comes to like quote unquote role playing, where you go in, play a character, and really decide, hey, in this world, I want to be this. In this world, this is what I do. And so right now, I am actually really into the tuner stuff, where now I'm like, cool, I have an auto shop. I want to continue to buy cars. I want to continue to tune cars because I have such a good time with that, because you really do get to go in and customize colors and customize parts of your car. And it feels very Midnight Clubby, which I'm all about. I go in and I do that and I have a fantastic time. And with that, they also have new races and new like these mini heist type things where you're going in and you're doing missions based off of the LS car tuner update, which is really fun. And so the update is really good, but then two, very impressive to see that it's been a huge success, and they're saying that they have more players than any previous update in GT Online history, which is wild. And I wish they would release the numbers because I want to know the exact figure for people who are playing GT Online, because we know that game has sold. Actually, I forget the last number. I want to say it was over 100 million though, right? Like it's up there with the best-selling games of all time. And that is in terms of dollar value, but in terms of copies sold, still very much up there, which makes me think that the active players for GT Online must still be up there in, like, if I had to guess, maybe 70 million, 80 million. Like, it is really impressive what they're doing with GT Online. I'm probably lowballing that now that I think about it.
I'm on Screen Rant from May 2021, and they open up. Owner Take-Two reveals Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold more than 145 million copies to date.
145 million?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Yeah.
Jesus, dear Lord. So yeah, that's really impressive. But then I wonder how much their active players are. Like, I wonder how many players are playing actively, like what their peak concurrents are, because that's probably somewhere in the millions as well. Very impressive game, very impressive update, very impressive numbers. I can't wait.
Very impressive all around.
Very impressive all around, and I'm gonna probably talk about it even more on PSLW. So look forward to that.
Oh, you think you're gonna show up on Monday?
It depends on how these snakes react when I walk outside today.
We'll see how the handling goes on Sunday. Number 3 and final on the Roper Report. Some Borderlands 3 devs have bounced from Gearbox. This is Megan Farokhmanesh over at Axios. Several senior developers at Gearbox Software who worked on Borderlands 3 are leaving the company and going to work on a new independent project together, Gearbox confirmed to Axios. If you haven't ever seen, I don't know how many people are checking out Axios. Obviously, Megan's there, Steven Shattilla's there. They do an interesting way of reporting news where they actually break it down in like bullet point fashion, which I appreciate as someone who has to read a lot of news in the morning. But why it matters: senior producer Christopher Brock, lead mission designer Keith Schuler, and art director Scott Kester have been with the company for more than a decade. Paul Sage served as the game's creative director alongside UX/game field director Chris Strauss and lead character artist Kevin Penrod. All are leaving. News of their exit was announced internally about 2 weeks ago, with 7 senior departures in total. A source with direct knowledge tells Axios that almost all of the departing developers were working on the same project currently in pre-production. Gearbox has already begun to shift new team members over. What they're saying: Gearbox Entertainment founder Randy Pitchford told Axios the group is leaving Gearbox, quote, on the best of terms. Quote, before their transition, the group was part of a not yet announced pre-production team, and their departure will cause minimal disruption to our current plans, Pitchford said. The company is currently working on new projects involving Gearbox properties. Quote, the bulk of our attention at the moment is dedicated to finishing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, he said, which is on track. One source told Axios the exits represented a departure of some of the studio's old guard and said there was excitement in the studio that, quote, fresh blood is now going to be leading the project they left, end quote. The big picture: Borderlands 3 launched in 2019. Departures years after its release would have given developers time to collect royalties on the game. Borderlands 3 co-writer Danny Homan left Gearbox in May after 6 years to join Respawn Entertainment as a senior writer. Yeah, a little bit of context as somebody who plays a lot of Borderlands, of course, is that, like, yeah, not only did it launch in 2019, you want to collect your royalties, but now all the DLC is done, right? To my knowledge, we hosted the Borderlands show, and we are not contracted for any more Borderlands shows. So I do assume that is put to bed as they totally focus on Tiny Tina. So
yeah,
we'll see. I mean, it's always that thing when a bunch of people leave, you're like, but it is a bunch of people who have been there forever and probably want to go do their own thing and don't. And like, remember, Gearbox is sold now to Embracer Group, so it's like you have a corporate overload and everything else going on.
Yeah, this strikes me as just the regular cycle of video game development, where you go in, you're working on Borderlands 3 over the course of time, you're working on DLC, it's been a few years, and then you have that dip where it's like, cool, we're transitioning between projects. I'm tired of Borderlands, I'm going to go work on my own thing, or I'm going to go work at a different developer. This strikes me as that, which is normal, and I can't wait for Tiny Tina. Before we transition, though, Greg, can I give you a story? Because I forgot this happened on when I was playing GTA Online, and this is still on the last story a little bit.
You don't want to save this for PS I Love You?
No, I'll tell it now because I'm probably gonna play more, and this is partly pimping out the fact that there is a kind of funny crew in GTA Online for people that are listening and want to hop in. Because Greg, a few days ago, I was streaming GTA Online on my Twitch channel, and as I was playing, right, it was me, Zach Wizen, and you did the gracious thing of promoting me to the leader of the kind of funny squad because you for the longest time were the leader of that crew, but I know you don't hop in as often anymore, and so I was like, Greg, let me get those.
I never hop in. I just somebody needed to lead the crew. I was the crew leader. Whatever.
Fair enough. So I asked you, I was like, Greg, can you give me the keys to the kind of funny crew? And you're like, oh yeah, you're promoted. And with that, when I hopped in, I started playing with Zach, but then I was telling Chad, I was like, hey, if anybody's in the kind of funny, it's called the kind of funny squad, but it's a GTA crew. If anybody's in the kind of funny squad, you can either join or you can, if you're already in, you can join up on me. And the cool thing about these mini heists, Greg, is that they happen. Like usually for a mission in GTA, it's co-op for 1 to 4 players, but the setup missions for the mini heists, they are instanced in the lobby, in the world. And by the time I had started one of those, we had like 7 to 8 different folks in the kind of funny squad come through and join in. And when I tell you that it felt like playing with an army beside me, like the mission was basically, hey, go over to this parking lot over here and take out these enemies and steal this car or find this thing. And when I tell you it was me, it was Zach, it was somebody in a fighter jet, somebody in a flying DeLorean, somebody in a helicopter, somebody in like a tank. We were rolling up on those folks and they didn't stand a chance.
God,
and it was
organized like that? No way.
We were organized like we were ready to take over the world, and it was a magical moment. And so if you play GTA Online, join the kind of funny squad. You should be able to search it up on Rockstar Social Club. Join it, and when I'm playing or when best friends are playing, join up, squad up, and have a good time. Because when I tell you it was a fun time, it was a really fun time.
I love fun times, and I'm excited for my next fun time. And Emily is away, but that stream is so far away, mere minutes, of course, but so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, say what came to the mom and grab shops, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, where the snow settles on Xbox One and PC. Orcs Must Die, PS3. Orcs Must Die 3, PS4, Xbox One, PC. Scrap Garden, Xbox One. Blue Fire, PS4. Truck Simulator 2, Switch. 112 Operator, Switch. Sports Pinball Bundle on Switch. Freddy Spaghetti 2 on Switch. Hunter Shooting Camp on Switch. Din Ho Space Adventure Switch. Yum 2 Sleepless Night on PC. A Way to Be Dead on PC. Reset Era points out Shadow of the Tomb Raider gets updated on PS5 to support 4K/60 frames per second in high resolution mode, and also gets optimized for the Series X/S badge. Meanwhile, Sniper Elite 4 gets a free update on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S, full 4K, faster load times in 60 frames per second. Also, Stadia is now taking applications to try crowd play for the official Olympics video game if you want to get in on that. New dates for you. Chernobylite is coming to PC September 7th. And I got a deal of the day for you. There's a huge Xbox sale. I kick it over to Xbox Who Writes. It's that time of year again. From today through August 5th, Ultimate Game Sale is back with hot deals on select Xbox and PC games and accessories. From sports to action and adventure, there is a game for everyone to keep the fun going all summer long. This year's fan favorite sale features up to 80% off on select Xbox digital games and up to 70% off on PC games. Not to mention, the first month of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is just $1 for new members. The best deal in gaming, $1 Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. You could get it and be playing Last Stop just like I am, and I love Last Stop. And I'll talk about it on PS. I love you. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be talking about an Xbox Game Pass game on PS I Love You?
No, I'm playing on PlayStation for all the trophies.
Wow.
Nice try. You can't catch me. You can't.
Yeah, I thought I had you. I was like, oh, look at this betrayer.
Don't you think I fucking sat there being like, can you? They're like, we have codes for review. They're only on PC. I'm like, I'll wait for PlayStation. Day came around. It's on Xbox Game Pass. It's everywhere. I'm like, you know what? Just bought it on PlayStation. That's how addicted to trophies I am, ladies and gentlemen. That's how dedicated to PS I Love You XOXO I am, ladies and gentlemen.
I say that like I'm not
going to talk about Greg Miller.
I'm definitely talking about Death Store on Monday on PS Love You, so get ready for that.
We asked people watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. Believe it or not, there's just one here. Hard to find writes in and says, Greg, we're never worried about you being in the ballpark with words. Just keep reading. Of course, talking about when I was trying to figure out how we pronounce a name. I hard disagree on that and not even doing a character, especially for names. I don't like not knowing how to pronounce somebody's name. I think it's incredibly insulting when you don't know how to do it. And so I will often try to pivot to it. One of my, I would say, greatest weaknesses as a host is the ability that when I see a word that is not something I'm used to, I struggle to sound it out. So you see me all the time with Japanese words, try to break it down syllable by syllable. Names here today, right? Is when Blessing said it, I could finally see it. I disagree with you. I understand you maybe want it to be a clean read, but that we're not that kind of show. We're a show that wants to admit our faults and get better about it and learn from them. So you can go listen to the Daily News somewhere. I'm sure. I don't know. I'm sure Patrick Klepek's doing some news podcast somewhere. That's he's nailing every name. You know what I mean? It was easier to write the names back in the day. Now I got to say him. Pain in the butt. Bless. Let's talk about next week's hosts. Of course, this is Friday. So, I mean, this is your last episode for this week. So next week, it's going to be a pretty normal week. Monday, Blessing and Tim. Tuesday, Greg and Gary. Wednesday, Blessing and Tim. Thursday, Greg and Tim. Friday, Greg and Blessing.
It was a Tim week.
You know what? Tim Tam is like, I want to get out there. I want to get some action. And we're going to give him all the action he can handle. Speaking of action, Greg Way, he's about to get action with me. We're going to go back to Emily is Away 3. We are going to continue our Facebook Messenger dating simulator. If you missed the first part from forever ago, the one and only Matt Batson has put up an amazing recap. I believe we're starting the stream watching it so you can get briefed on where we're at. Of course, we are boyfriend-girlfriend with Emily. That was where we signed off last time.
Oh, congratulations.
But there's so many chapters left in this game. I don't think it's what's going to happen. Who's going to come out and steal her heart? It's high school. Anything can go, ladies and gentlemen. So, of course, you can watch that twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames right now. Then, of course, afterwards, you can pop on over and you can have a good time and you can watch it later on youtube.com/kindafunnyplays. It's coming up. Everything's going on. We're having a good time. Let's have some fun. Blessing's going to do a post show with Barrett. If you want to watch that, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where, of course, you can write in to be part of the show and get the show ad-free. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.